und herzlich willkommen zurück zu einer neuen Runde zu Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishment. Und wie ihr seht, sind wir hier wieder in unserem schönen Zuhause und wie in der letzten Runde angeschrieben bzw. natürlich angesagt, wir sind beim tödlichen Experiment
I imagine that
angelangt.
one of these plants would be capable of releasing a toxic vapor. I need to find out exactly how it could be done. I shall begin now. Watson, if you are at all optimistic to have dinner this evening, then I'd recommend that you put on the gas mask. My word! It shot a spike at me after I stabbed it with a pin. I imagined that its reaction would be ferocious if I increased the strength of my attack. It appears to have fallen inactive after being disturbed. No reaction.
Komisch.
This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid. This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid.
So, und was macht die hier?
It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid.
Och, wie süß.
How interesting. What a strong and effective defensive mechanism. I find the behavior of predators utterly fascinating.
Und hier passiert natürlich gar nichts.
It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent whilst it is opened, it will reveal a little more. I am interested in what might occur if the prickly plant should shoot at it.
Und wie machen wir das?
This is a strange and unusual plant. A carnivorous plant. A prickly plant.
Haben wir hier? Kann man das nicht da reinleeren? Ansonsten haben wir hier nichts. Weil die in der Mitte ist, frisst die ganze Zeit die Dinger, ne?
This plant seems to have had no... This plant seems to have had no reaction from the caterpillars. It appears to open after being soaked. No reaction.
Wie kann er die eigentlich tauschen?
This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid.
Und noch einmal, geht das?
This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid.
Jupp, wird irgendwie inaktiv, ne?
My word, it shot a spike. I find the behavior of predators.
Nee, wir können die nur vertauschen. Aber möchte ja mehr haben. Mal kurz. Wenn wir das jetzt...
This plant.
Ah. Ich hätte keine...
This plant.
So wird da wahrscheinlich auch nichts draus. Nein!
I find the behavior of predators. Toxic gas with spores. Extraordinary.
Haben wir was richtig gemacht. Keine
The
Ahnung, was.
plants would be capable of killing only if they were directly next to the victim and stimulated at precisely the right moment.
Let us take our caterpillars to the Colonial Collection Room. We may see things more clearly there.
It is too early, Watson. Our suspects will be there. Let us investigate Kew Gardens one more time and ask some questions.
Wir dürfen also Ermittlungen fortfahren und... Cool. Wir haben die tödliche Präzision nochmals. Denke mal, wir gehen wirklich, wie er so gesagt hat, nochmal in den Kew Garden und mal schauen, was da los ist. Alles kann ja nicht so schlimm sein, ne? So, ein Notizbuch wird ja wieder mal von dem Herren gelesen und gewesen. So. So. Ende aus. Jetzt sind wir hier. Brauchen wir den kleinen nochmal. Wenn er da ist, würde es mich sehr interessieren.
Your father's death does seem highly suspicious. What were your movements here on that day?
Suspicious. Well, I was working in the seed house, taking care of Lysa something, or Lear Pontus, or... No, wait. Ah, these Latin names. And I spent so many hours trying to memorize them.
Did you see your father that day?
Yes, he came here with Mr. Hamish for his weekly visit. There was nothing unusual about that.
And then?
Nothing. They stepped out to the backyard. It was perhaps 20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Then about 10 minutes later, I saw my father heading for the dry tropics room while Mr. Hamish returned here.
And Mr. Hamish and Miss White, what were they both doing that morning?
Mr. Hamish visited me a couple of times. I also saw him returning from talking with Miss White, and that was at 10 minutes past 10. But then he ran back here to me to tell me that my father was feeling unwell. We hurried across to the water lily room, and I found my father lying dead on the floor. Oh my God.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
War jetzt nur Opfer oder nicht? Ich weiß es nicht. Aber wir fragen mal den anderen Herrn hier, ne? Mal gucken, was er so zu sagen hat.
Can you tell me if you saw Mr. Montague Dunn on the day of his death?
Yes, of course. I met him, and we went to see Albert, his son, at around 9:30. He appeared quite calm.
What were you doing on the morning of the accident?
After paying multiple visits to Albert, I had a little talk with Miss White. Then I returned to my desk to complete some paperwork. Suddenly I observed that Mr. Dunn was not feeling well, so I ran immediately to fetch Albert. I clearly remember that it was around 10:30, for I was late that morning.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Der eine sagt 10 nach 10. Hier sagen wir 10:30. Das ist jetzt langsam aber sicher merkwürdig. Wo ist die? Ach, ich glaube, man sieht. Ja, man sieht. So, guck mal, was die zu sagen hat.
Can you tell me what Mr. Dunn was doing upon the day of his death?
I can, but there is nothing very special to say. I was in the laboratory when I saw Mr. Dunn heading towards me. Tuesday is the day of his weekly visit. It was supposed to be at 9, but he was 10 minutes late, as usual.
And then?
Well, he came in to say good morning. Then I saw him spend 2 or 3 minutes by the plants outside the laboratory. After that, he ran out in the direction of the nursery, where Mr. Hamish was working. He was always in a rush during the inspection, you see. I would pity anyone who stood in his way.
And that was the last time you saw him?
Yes. I stayed in the laboratory until 20 minutes to 11, when I heard the cries of Albert to Mr. Hamish from the large glass house. I joined them as soon as I could, for I knew that something must be very wrong.
What exactly were you doing in the laboratory?
I was recording an experiment for my thesis. I only stopped my work once when Mr. Hamish visited me briefly around 10 o'clock.
You say you were recording an experiment when the tragedy occurred. Might I listen to the roll?
Certainly. Please do. You will find it in the laboratory. It is number 320.
Thank you, miss.
Everyone has gone, Holmes. The way is clear.
So, ich bleib mich mal ein wieder. Ach so. Dann rennt er hier lang und... Ich begreife die Sequenzen
When
immer noch nicht
Montague
ganz.
Dunn was standing close by the plants, the caterpillars were released and caused the deadly spores to activate. Panicking, and likely already half asphyxiated, Montague Dunn started back and knocked over the bust. He rushed to the door, but it was locked. He had to force it open with his shoulder. We already know the outcome. Montague Dunn collapsed and died not far from the pool. Well, it is time to perform our experiment on the ventilation system.
Oh, Experiment, Ventilationssystem, wie jetzt?
The caterpillars could only fall from the ventilation duct. Our caterpillars are in place. I'll activate the ventilation system so that they fall down. Watson, stay here and observe.
All right, Holmes.
Die gehen... Können wir hier raus? Ah, Mann, ey. Also ja logisch sind alle weg, ich Depp. Demnach rein. Nehmen wir mal kurz in das Haus rein, ich Depp. Boah. Hm. Nur weiter.
From here, we are unable to see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room.
Ja, aber den Hebel kann man ja hier nicht ziehen, ne? Doch. Aber wie jetzt? Ah, nee, klar, hier. Oh. Ding geht ja ganz nach hier und dann wird hier.
The power is on. The engine has started. The ventilation system is working.
Hm. Nun wollen wir zurückrennen, oder was? Ich bin doof, ich hätte auch von der anderen Seite herkommen können. Aber egal. Das haben wir noch genügend Zeit. Eigentlich nicht, wir sind ja schon drüber, aber ich mache heute mal ein bisschen länger. Dann kriegen wir das also unter einen Hut. Das Experiment. Dieses kolonische Haus hier wird irgendwie immer ein Rätsel sein. Wie, wo, was, warum.
Now we need to see if we can activate the fans from Mr. Hamish's and Albert's space.
Oh. Depp. Hätte man auch drauf kommen können, ne? Na gut, und das würde ich sagen, wir haben jetzt den Ventilator angeschlossen, das Belüftungssystem läuft. Ich denke mal, das werden wir in der nächsten Runde tun. Wir sehen uns. Bis dann, haut rein. Tschüss und ciao.